Hi guys, it's Steffi from the Novelty Corner. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share my Love Ozway A Reading Challenge Month TBR. So this is for the YA Rooms Reading Challenge Bingo. There are a grand total of 25 squares. I have books for each of these challenges. However, I don't expect that I'm going to be reading every single one of them, but I have assigned a book to each of them. And then I also have a giant pile of spare books that I can swap in and out or read if I feel like it. So it's going to be a big month, but I'm really looking forward to it. For the challenge to read a book by 2 or more Australian authors, I am planning on reading Zeros by Scott Westerfeld, Margot Lanigan and Deborah Biancotti because I've heard lots of really great things about this series and I have yet to read it. For the challenge, read a book set in your city. I'm not 100% sure if this book is set in my city, but I'm putting it in here for the time being, and if it's not, I'll have to swap it out. But that is Graffiti Moon by Kath Crowley. I read Words in Deep Blue by Kath Crowley last year, but I haven't read her first book, and this one is really popular, so I'm hoping to get to it. For the challenge, read a book shortlisted for the Gold Inky Award. I have read Sister Heart by Sally Morgan. I talked about this in my wrap up this week, so definitely check that out if you would like to hear my thoughts on it. For challenge 4, which is to read a book with a strong friendship element in it, I am going to read Take 3 Girls by Kath Crowley, Simone Howell and Fiona Wood because I've heard nothing but good things about this book, but I have yet to pick it up. For the next challenge, this one was kind of hard because I haven't read any of these books, and this challenge is to pick a book that you would like to see adapted. But I'm going to take a stab in the dark and go In the Dark Spaces by Callie Black because this is Aussie sci-fi or spec fic, and it sounds really intriguing and it might make a really good adaptation, but I'll have to read it and I'll get back to you. Challenge 6 is to read a book that is part of a series, and I would really like to pick up A Town Called Dust by Justin Woolley, which is a book series that I picked up when I was at Oz Comic Con this year, and I haven't yet picked it up and I would really like to. Challenge 7 is to read a book by an Indigenous author, and for that I'm going to read The Disappearance of Ember Crow by Amber Quay Molina. This is the second book in the Tribe series. The first book was The Interrogation of Charlotte Wolf, and I really love that, but I have yet to pick up the rest of the series, so I thought this would be a perfect time to pick up the second book. Challenge 8 is to read a book set in the past, and for that I'm going to read Teens by Louise Mack. This book was originally published in 1897, so I can safely say that this was set in the past. For challenge number 9, to read a book with mental health rep, I am planning on reading Beautiful Mess by Claire Christian. I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard nothing but good things. Challenge 10 is to read a book with a male protagonist, and for that I'm going to read The Sky So Heavy by Claire Zorn. I read her book One Would Think the Deep earlier this year. I did enjoy it, and I thought it would be really good to try one of her other stories as well. Again, I picked this up from the library, so I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but it was also shortlisted for the CBCA, so it's got to be good. Challenge number 11 is to read a book by a young, under 25 years old author. And I think Breathing Underwater by Sophie Hardcastle fits that. I'm pretty sure she was under 25 when this was first published, so I'm going to give this a read. Do you like my haphazard piling style over here? It's going to fall over at some point, I just know it. Challenge 12 is to read a book by a marginalized author, and for that I'm going to read Lorinda by Alice Pung. For challenge 13, or square 13, which is the free space, I'm reading Freedom Swimmer by Y Chim. I'm about halfway through this at this point and I'm really enjoying it. Challenge 14 is to read a book set in a small town, and I'm going to read Untidy Towns by Kate O'Donnell. This has been getting such good reviews from people that I know and trust, and I'm so excited to pick this up. It is one of the ones that I'm definitely going to be picking up this month. Challenge 15 is to read a debut novel, and for that I'm going to pick up Life in Outer Space by Melissa Keel because I read The Secret Science of Magic earlier in the year. I did enjoy that, and I have since seen Melissa speak and met her, and she's absolutely lovely, and this sounds completely geeky and right up my alley, and I am so looking forward to this one. Challenge 16 is to read a book with an Indigenous main character, and for that I'm going to pick up the third book in the Tribe series by Amber Quay Molina, and that is The Foretelling of Georgie Spider, and I would like to wrap up this trilogy this month, which would be fantastic. Challenge 17 is to read a book set after high school, and for that I'm going to pick up Summer Skin by Kirsty Eager. I heard Amanda from Cook Read Create talk about this book, so I picked it up, and this sounds like the perfect opportunity to read it because it's the only book I have that fits this challenge, I think. Challenge 18 is to read a book published by a small press, and I read Hexenhaus for this. I think this is published by University of Queensland Press. I don't know if this is considered a small press, but it's not one that I often see books published by, so for the time being I'm using it, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Challenge 19 is to read a book that you relate to, which again is kind of difficult to pick when you haven't actually read a book, but I'm going to go with Remind Me How This Ends by Gabrielle Tozer, because it is a contemporary book set in Australia, and generally I find that I relate to these books really well just because of the fact that they're Australian and I can relate to those experiences from when I was a teenager, so I'm going to take a stab in the dark and throw this one in there. Challenge 20 is to read an Own Voices book, and for that I'm going to read The Sidekicks by Will Kostakis. He is hilarious when you listen to him talk, and I have been meaning to pick this up for so long, so this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Challenge 21 is to read Aussie spec fic, and for that I'm going to try and read The Undercurrent by Paula Weston. This is a 2017 release. I haven't read any of Paula Weston's other books, but I have heard good things about them. I've heard mixed reviews about this particular book, but I own it and I would really like to try it because I do like spec fic. Challenge 22 is to read a 2017 release, and for that I'm going to read Valentine by Jodie McAllister. This came in one of my YA Chronicles boxes and I haven't yet read it, but I am definitely going to pick this up this month. Challenge 23 is to read a book with a queer romance, and for that I'm going to read The Love Interest by Cal Dietrich, because Cal Dietrich, I believe, is an Australian author, and this book definitely has a queer romance in it. Challenge 24 is to read a self-published book, and I don't have any unread self-published books sitting on my TBR shelf or even on my Kindle. However, if I get super stuck, I am either going to reread No Limits by Ellie Marnie, or I'm going to reread It Came From the Deep by Maria Lewis. So it's going to be one of those two books. Challenge 25 is to read a book set in the city, and for that I'm going to read The Intern by Gabrielle Tozer, which I also picked up from the library. I love this cover, it's gorgeous. So this sounds like a very relatable book. Those are the books that I have sort of set as my TBR-ish. Like I said, I don't plan on reading them all. They're just things that I've assigned to challenges so that I can at least complete one row and maybe a few others. However, I do still have 13 other unread Love YA books sitting on my shelf, so I thought I would just share them with you so that you can see what there is, because the books may change what I read, because I'm a mood reader. I pick up what I feel like it when I feel like it. The first one is Dragon Song by Wendy Orr, Where by Meg Caddy, Becoming Kira Lee Lewis by Jane Harrison, Ida by Alison Evans. I would really like to read this at some point in the next month or two. The Boundless Sublime by Lily Wilkinson, Living on Hope Street by Demet Diverin, The Things We Promise by J.C. Burke, Shadows by Paula Weston, Facing the Flame by Jackie French, A City Called Smoke, and A World of Ash, both by Justin Woolley, which are books 2 and 3 in his series, Hello Goodbye by Emily Bruin, and In at the Deep End by Penelope Janu. So these are all my Lovers Way books that I could potentially read this month. I'm kind of intimidated by it, but yes, these are the books that you're going to be hearing about. So if there's anything that you would like me to really read and, talk about on my channel, do let me know in the comments. If there's anything that you've read that you really liked and would like to talk to me about, please do. Would love to do that. But yes, that's pretty much everything. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on Friday for my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.